Welcome back to CGTV, and we've decided it's finally time to decide what is the greatest video game controller of all time. Now, we do want to mention, we understand this is going to be very subjective.
Very subjective.
And there will be a lot of disagreement.
Of course.
And we want to say we welcome that. That's okay that you might have a different opinion than us. And if so, let us know in the comments. Tell us what you think about our decisions, what you would decide differently. But with that said,
I should also add this. It's also hard to know if we've used every single controller.
Sure.
There's all sorts of guidelines like that, but we also want to say this too. This isn't necessarily our favorite.
Right.
And we know it's not going to be, because it's a matter of trying to find through history what we consider is the best of what did things for gaming and was great. We're trying to take all those factors in. We've had to do a lot of talking about this.
Yeah.
It's been tough to do this, but we're excited to do this journey with you.
Yeah, and here's kind of the ground rules we set with that. We're considering every controller current to past, the time it was released, because let's be honest, if you were to throw a Sega Genesis controller against Xbox Elite,
You're taking the Genesis. Just kidding.
of course, the Xbox Elite today versus that would slaughter it, right? We get that. The point is, the exercise today is to decide when each controller came out, what it offered, what it brings to the table, what's unique about it, what's great about it. And so, yes, theoretically, a current controller could still win this thing.
Exactly.
But we wanted to make it fair across the board.
You got it?
Yeah.
You see what we're saying?
So let's kick it off. You want to grab first controller?
Let's
do it.
This is easy.
Here we go. Yeah, I made up my mind. Oh yeah!
What?
Whoa! No
picked
way!
I did the.
I did the-
too.
I've got the GameCube one.
Yeah, I picked this because it goes with everything.
Yeah. You're gonna want to fight with this.
Take it to Evo.
You're-
We're totally just kidding, but we absolutely love these controllers. Clearly, it's not going to make this.
This is not on the list.
But man, aren't these awesome?
Yeah, they really are cool.
Anyways.
Okay, I'm gonna kick it off and actually get it started.
Watch out for the back, man.
What we are going to do, Adam and I are going to pick the controllers we decided on for the top 10. In no particular order, our top 10 list. We do have some honorable mentions. And so I'm going to get it started with my first honorable mention. That one is not in the top 10, but the OG NES controller.
It is honorable, and it is mentioned.
And I want to say,
Say it.
growing up in the 80s, it's hard not to let nostalgic bias slip into our decisions, because
I just love the color.
so much fun was had on this controller. And I will say it is great and totally brought to the world how much entertainment you could have on a simple controller with a D-pad, 2 buttons, and just have a blast.
Yeah, you
and
can
so
put it in your lunchbox. You could jump
could
rope with it.
hammer stuff with. No, but
it.
seriously, NES, we love you. Not our top 10, but I wanted to mention this controller. Adam, you want to hit one of your honorable mentions?
Hit it. I don't want to break it. All right. So I actually threw this one out here just for the fact that this is just a fantastic controller for the money. So we don't put a lot of factors in money in this list today, but like this one is just a great controller all around, especially for the price. That's 8-bit now, the Pro 2. But yeah, this is a fantastic controller.
Yeah, really
John,
cool.
you know what I'm talking about.
He does. And my second honorable mention, I'm actually sticking with Nintendo apparently.
Of course you would.
The N64 controller, and I can hear people grimacing already
heard that
through the
too.
screen. Oh, what?
Someone
How's this
understand
not in your top 10? And listen, I'm almost in that boat as well. And I just want to say, this controller, it is very unique, and I love it. And I love N64 to begin with, the different color combinations, everything about this controller. But I will say, some of it, the uniqueness of it, is also just downright goofy and odd for gaming, and it did not hold up great.
As I see this wobbling.
and that was almost the thing that pushed it off the top 10 list for me, was the fact that it really didn't stand the test of time. And by time, I mean maybe even a week, and your joystick's just all over the
Your
place.
stick is literally going.
But let's be honest, what we do with this controller time was this on some Mario Party. But I did want to mention this controller because it is fantastic.
Is that what did it? Was it Mario Party 3?
I think it was.
One of those two where you had to do the spin? I know what you're talking about.
But
All
yeah.
right. And there, once again, there's going to be a lot of people that dislike this. They're going to like it or they hate this controller. I've had nothing but good luck with this. Some weird service stuff with, not with shipment, but not with the controller itself. I know others have had issues, but what am I trying to say? Besides the
Regardless
point.
of that.
Yeah. But no, just
You
a
said
great,
this. Say what it is.
it's the Scuff.
Yeah.
This is the Relax, but FPS one. But the Relax in general, great controller, but I find this to be more of to meet a specific need. It doesn't have to be. This particular one does though, but not enough to put it on my top 10, but nonetheless a great controller, especially if you're doing a lot of first-person.
We do want to say too, because you even mentioned this when we were talking about the controllers. This is one you game with currently very often.
Yeah, I do.
But the reason it was the main reason it was taken off was because it's very need specific, like you said.
Yes.
It's
I don't
fantastic
go
for
play my story games.
Right, it's fantastic for shooters and an awesome controller. But that was the reason we did want to mention it, but not on the top.
That's it.
So with that,
Let's just dive in.
with that, let's get rolling. Should we do it? Top 10 time? All right.
Do it.
You want to grab one first?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. I got my Sega Genesis, the 6-button specifically controller.
Yeah.
The 6 buttons was a big deal to me, especially for some fighters. Street Fighter 2, anyone? Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Huh?
We do want to reiterate this is in no particular order, but yeah.
Yeah.
So 6 button you threw in the list mostly
real
because
quick. I just wanted to add this, even though this video is going to be really long.
It's all right.
Do you remember on the 3-button one for Street Fighter, you had to hit select to switch between kicks and punches? Oh, it was awful.
Wow, yeah.
So this,
awesome fighting controller. The first one I'm throwing into the top 10 is probably still one of my favorite controllers to this day, is the Nintendo GameCube controller. And let's be honest, it's a little quirky, but when you're playing Super Smash Bros., you're still going back to this.
It's such a fun
Even on the
controller,
current
but
one,
it is.
the ridges on the
weird.
triggers, I love it. It is odd, but and here's what's funny: the buttons are all a different shape, but in some regards,
It just helps your fingers.
it
I don't
does.
know what
It's nice because you know what button you're grabbing and hitting. And at the time it came out, it was super unique, but I still love the way it feels in the hand, and for particular games,
It does feel great in the hand. Do you feel like some of this is nostalgia for us?
Some of it is, but I
Because-
will say, even with that,
Yeah.
it's.
Like this D-pad's awful.
But let's be real, I still
I love it.
gravitate to this today, playing Super Smash Bros, and it is still fun. And I think
Yeah.
that's why it snuck in, not stuck in, but to the top.
It is. It's just a fun controller, and then also some ways it's not great, but
Yeah.
yet I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
All right, so
What do we got?
this is going to be a weird one for some people.
Okay.
The only reason why I'm throwing this in here is because
Say what it is. Sorry.
this is the Victrix controller.
I don't know if they can see it.
Yeah, apparently, I'm not sure why I'm not telling you guys. Keeping it to myself. No, but this does so many things great. Like, so it's not. It's weird because I'm just talking about the Scuff that's kind of unique in a certain area. This one does so many things great. So you can switch the analog sticks however you want to be. If you want it to be Xbox style, PlayStation style.
Okay, that's
you can
actually
switch out
sweet.
the D-pad, which I've somehow ended up loving this one. Think about doing your fireballs with this. It just feels.
I will
fantastic.
say, I haven't actually gamed with this. So that's pretty awesome.
It is great. Then you can switch this out. Victor, seriously, just feel how smooth this is. I thought it was gonna be weird, and after I played with it one round, I was like, I'm keeping this D-pad.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Aren't isn't this whole thing reversible?
Yeah.
Too? Okay,
And
that's
then you
pretty
can
cool.
Put in the 6-button layout like the Sega Genesis right here, and it has mouse clicks.
Is this PlayStation specific, or
It is.
can it work with both?
This one's PlayStation.
But do they
specific.
make one Xbox?
I don't think so.
Okay, still cool though.
Yeah, but
And I will say, if you're an Xbox lover, then this is a great option because it has a
That's
similar feel to
yeah,
Xbox.
very true.
So
But the 6-button layout is mouse clicks, which is great. So if you're someone that uses a controller for fighters, unscrew this, put in the mouse click 6-button layout. It's a fantastic
cool.
controller. So
Really cool.
You can pick how far you want this to input. You literally set it yourself, Victor.
Okay.
So you're like, I want to go this far. You set it.
That's awesome.
So that's why
Victrix,
I like
touche.
it. Yeah. Touchy.
Next one I'm rolling with. I feel like this is a no-brainer, and I feel like everybody watching is going to say it's a no-brainer, but the Xbox Elite controller. And when it comes to just straight build quality, I think this is the best controller, bar none.
I agree.
It feels fantastic. The sheer weight, you can just tell what went into making this thing.
From everything.
Yeah, and when
the
it
grip on the... Sorry, not to cut you off.
no,
but
you're
yeah.
good. Yeah,
The grip's
grip's fantastic.
Sticks, the actual spring. Yes, I
All of it.
completely agree.
All of it, and for reasons that are obvious to everyone at this point, if you're in the gaming community, but Xbox Elite, we love your controller.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic pick. I might as well do this too.
Okay.
Okay, so no, we have the Edge, and I may have just turned on Jordan's PlayStation, but no. So the Edge, once again, they have a little bit of grip there, has the weight. This is good in its own right. There's actually some aspects they're both different as far as why they're good, but I mean that's really what it is. This is kind of like the Elite controller for PlayStation.
PlayStation
but
side.
you know, switch out the sticks. If a stick goes bad, that's nice. Don't have to buy another $200 controller to switch out the stick. Switch out the stick. But yeah,
And I do want to say this too. For this reason, the Xbox One controller and the PS5 controller in its own right is not on our top 10 because these are kind of representative of that as well, but better.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's true.
yeah. Did want to mention that.
Still
Okay.
get the haptics with this, and you can still pick the range. Hopefully you do.
My number 3, I feel like is going to be one that nobody saw coming for this list, but there's a specific reason for it. And you can laugh, but the Nintendo Wii U.
I know why. Because you can lay it down and put a golf ball on
Right.
there and take your,
And just
and tee it off.
Actually,
Do you remember that advertisement? They showed that when it first was announced.
yes, extremely quirky, but the things that they accomplished with this controller, and this is what's funny too, is it's one of the worst selling consoles ever, and yet they had such a fantastic, unique design with this controller. The things that you could do in game with the screen by itself, the fact that you could play here on this, and I will say, it actually still feels very comfortable in the hand, and they accomplished that very well. And we all know, and this is the main reason for me why top 10 is this ultimately led to the Switch, which is awesome. And so that was the deciding factor for it slipping into the top 10.
I remember calling it that the Switch was actually gonna be what the Switch is when this was out.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna make this the console and portable, and hopefully you can dock it. That's exactly what they did. It was a smart move, but I agree. Not everyone liked the Wii U, or people were just turned off by it. I actually thought it was awesome. And the fact, like I said, you have the screen to do double. Someone needs to use the TV. You can sit there and play this. Even the problem was the distance.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You're like,
Sure.
I could take it to the bathroom. It's like, you're like, no, I can't. Thought I could.
But yeah,
Yeah, the distance
again,
is the biggest
when we
issue.
took into account what it led to, right?
Yep.
And so that was the reason it slipped in. But yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Just got in there.
It just snuck right in.
Slipped in the cracks.
Number 7.
I hope I don't need to tell you what this is, but
Yeah.
Super Nintendo SNES controller. Once again, there's some nostalgia here for sure, and some bias, but wow, I can't believe this still feels so great to me. The buttons, guys, hold on a second. Just hear that. Look how great this holds up. No, but I just remember so much loving the D-pad on this, which I still feel like people try to do. While this feels very hollow,
Yeah.
the D-pad still feels great. It's the first one to do the shoulder buttons.
That's a very big deal.
carried over to all controllers basically after this. But yeah, I just had to mention that because I feel like this started a lot of things moving forward.
It did.
D-pads always try to replicate it. The shoulder buttons, but
Yeah. And major props for the shoulder buttons for sure. Like the what it led to for the future of gaming,
Yep.
definitely. Number 8. Speaking of
8.
things you could do This controller, the Sega Dreamcast,
Way ahead of its time.
there
Just
might
the Dreamcast
be
in general.
the Dreamcast in general. This will forever be the console that just slipped away. Like, but we just missed it. You know what I mean?
We failed you, Sega.
We failed you, Sega, and we're sorry. Okay, but listen, this controller, while I hold it now, it doesn't feel great. It's not like this is the design that stuck with things. But let me just tell you, the uniqueness of when this came out had these awesome sharp triggers within reach here. But this is the main factor here. You have this plug-in screen. Which one interacts with games, which kind of was the prequel to this on its bigger form. But you could pull this out and literally play mini games a la Game Boy style on this thing. You had a dedicated memory card slot as well, which is really awesome. And yes, this was in the same.
This one is the memory card.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Sorry.
So, but yes, this is the same genre as N64.
Rumble Pack.
But yes, you could throw Rumble Pack and do all those unique things. And so with that, this was so
Online?
unique.
I guess that's not the controller,
Yeah,
but
not the
still.
controller, but still,
Just trying to give Dreamcast
It's love.
Yeah.
This was so unique on its own. We thought it had to make the top 10 with the things that it did, considering the screen and everything.
Yeah.
else.
And
Yeah.
if you guys never played Dreamcast, one, it's still fun to go back to that, but Code Veronica, for instance, if you're playing Resident Evil, it would show like your health bar down here
On the little screen.
Or there's a horror game named D2 and there's a compass down there. So that's what we mean.
Really cool.
It was like a lot of the things that Wii U was trying to do, which this expanded on, but at the time that was way ahead of its time. I can't believe I would have loved to see where they took that, but
Right. Anyways,
Yeah.
Dreamcast.
you're doing it.
You
You
did it.
did do it, Sega.
All right, our last two controllers in the top 10. What do you got, Adam?
We got the 360 controller. Yeah, this thing just held up really well. So, the triggers aren't quite as springy as they used to be or great, but it's like this is the way it feels. I always kind of got annoyed of this back in the day, how my fingers couldn't go all the way across because of the battery thing, but that I'm not going to deduct points for that because there's a reason why I have this on there. While there's not anything huge that this necessarily did for the industry, I just think the design and it feeling very premium is kind of what made this such a good controller.
Would you agree with this? I feel like even though
The battery still lasted a long time.
this didn't have any groundbreaking addition, this was kind of the first time the gaming controller was taken in that perfected direction, right?
Yeah, I
like
agree.
The shape, the hand, and everything in its right place, and like
Yeah, I remember not liking the D-pad back in the day, and I guess this still feels bad, but I don't hate it now like I felt like I used to.
Sure.
But yes, I agree. I feel like this was like the push forward to the controllers we have today.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. And even though you mentioned the battery compartment getting frustrating, also a positive too in the sense that you could play wirelessly for a long time. So really cool. Really cool. All right, last one. Before I pull it out, any guesses as to what it might be? Drum roll, please. Okay.
Turbo Graphics. Neo Geo.
Last controller.
Atari.
The DualShock. PS1 / also 2. But yes, this came out after the OG PS1 without the DualShocks. But this controller had to make the list, for one, because of what it brought to the table with gaming controllers.
Moving controllers forward.
Yeah, the first with the double triggers, the first with dual joysticks. And yes, while I hold it now, I will say in the hand,
Handles are teeny.
it doesn't feel as good as the Xbox 360, but this definitely had to make the list for all those things and all those reasons. So there it is.
The triggers with the dual. I mean, just having the dual sticks, that's a huge deal.
It really is. Yeah. I even just think about Tomb Raider and looking and doing those things.
Yep.
But yeah, that's our top 10. So before we move on with the video, let us know, is there ones not in the top 10 that you would have included or thought we should have considered or maybe bumped in and
It's
taken
hard,
out?
guys.
It
Especially
is.
when we're trying to do third-party controllers as well. So that's tough. But
So with that said,
so now we've narrowed the list down to just 5 controllers, and we together are going to try to basically work through this of what's going to end up being the top 3 then for the winner of this. So
best controller all time.
Yep. So I think what we're going to be doing.
Yep.
Is that right?
SNES. DualShock, Xbox 360, PlayStation Edge, and Xbox Elite.
Yeah.
This is our top 5. Adam, you want to take it?
Oh man. So this was really hard. Here's the thing. We're just gonna try to get this out of the way because I think this is actually Victor's and our favorite controllers.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know that we like one better than the other. We just really like both these controllers and think they're both perfect in their own way. They're not really perfect.
Yeah.
I think you know what I mean though. These are just so awesome. But
Each
this
one-
isn't about that per se. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to. We felt like these led to this.
Yeah.
These a little bit. So that's why we're actually pushing these out of the way. And
Yeah,
trying
for that reason,
Yeah.
that is why these two controllers, which we think are the best
are our
of the
go-tos.
best currently,
Yep.
did not make the top 3 because this came from this, right? And so these going off to the side, our top 3 are the DualShock, Xbox 360, and
The SNES.
yes,
Shoulders, D-pad buttons. So, whew. All right, guys, listen, this was really hard. And keep in mind, we are trying our best to not be subjective, but there's no way not to be.
yeah. And I want to add as well.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned this already, but before you destroy us in the comments, yes, of course, if I'm gaming today, I'm going to grab one of these. But again, that's not what this video is because we have to consider the time when it came out and the era it was brought in and what it did. And so
Yeah,
with
we were
that-
trying to consider that with these as well.
we were.
Yeah.
We were.
Um,
but yeah, I think the reality was the conversation we had was these are awesome, but like if you consider it against everything that's out there, the Victrix, the Scuf, and all these things, it's like there's a lot of fantastic pro controllers in the market.
Yep.
And so that is kind of what it led
I
us
mean,
to.
that Razer has their own.
Yeah.
Akon has their new one coming, but we weren't even expecting our one that's the winner here to be the winner.
Yeah,
It wasn't
it's
even
true.
originally in our top 5 until we started talking stuff out.
Yeah.
And while I think this is a great controller and led to the shoulders and everything else, I just think, this still feels a little hollow, a little cheap, and everything else. And I think there's so many advancements that are made that I think these push it over that. All right, now that brings us down to these two.
Yep.
This was once again a very hard choice for
hold 'em
very different reasons.
Yeah.
I think this one I feel like is a more premium controller, and I do feel like most controllers are building off of this today. However, I also think this is what moved controllers over so much further. The fact that of having the 2 sticks with the triggers in the back.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this has to be the winner?
So final
Which we
2.
wouldn't have picked.
And I'm in agreement with you, Adam. The best controller of all time which is funny to say because I did not think it was going to be this when we
Guys,
started.
this wasn't even on my radar. I didn't even know this was going to be on our top 10 originally.
The PlayStation DualShock controller, and for the reasons mentioned, guys, this brought 2 triggers to the table. This brought DualShock, the dual sticks to the table. This actually, I believe, was the first to have Rumble built in. It wasn't the first to add Rumble, but there were so many things that this controller brought that led to the future of everything we game with today. This tips the scale over the Xbox 360, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the best
There it
controller
is.
of all time.
We weren't even expecting that.
Again,
It still feels better.
let us know what you think in the comments. Again,
I hope that makes sense, guys, because literally as we had to talk this through, even if you disagree, my point is, as we're sitting here talking through all this about the factors we had to choose, this literally kept pushing this forward, which we were not expecting.
First we were like, why is that moving forward? It's so weird.
It's weird. I wasn't even expecting this to be in our top 10.
Yeah.
Like, I would have thought we're going to pick the PS4 controller or...
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But again, if you disagree, we welcome it. Let us know what you think. Tell us your reasons in the comments and to support your arguments. But either way, we appreciate you guys. We thank you for watching this video all the way through. Don't forget to
like, comment, and lastly, if you made it this far, we have giveaways coming that was long overdue. We're going to try to do that in about a week or so. Make sure you look in the community post. We'll make a post on there with the date and time. It'll most likely be on a Friday, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that, guys. Sorry for the delay. We got a Steam Deck coming with a giveaway. We have a SSD for the PS5, and we're going to be doing a mobile controller giveaway. So we're going to do all 3 of those at once.
It's going to be a big giveaway.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Maybe more. I don't know, because your patience.
I might even give away my shoes.
Anyone need a kidney? Okay, anyway.
Anyways, we love you guys.
See ya.